kind of hot, and I don't know if there's anything definitely left out. Here's the deal, okay? So everything you've been talking about, comments before this, are all issues that have come up. I suggest if you wanted to check out one website to really get a good idea about it, go to Genesee County. Genesee County Land. That's for Flint, Michigan. Everyone knows the story about Flint, Michigan, right? The city died. They probably have some cities here. And they have an amazing amount of vacant land and abandoned property. In Michigan, it took 7 years to be able to get a property that was abandoned to be able to clear the title. And Michigan really led the after that in 2004. And they brought up the issue. What do? How do we make it so that we don't just bring this in and then speculate it? How do we make it so that the properties are maintained well while we wait for this process to go through? How can we have it so that people in the community have an opportunity to work on the restoration and then live in it? And when they address these issues, and now they're going around the country helping other cities and states like New York that recently passed legislation. In Pennsylvania that recently passed legislation a few years ago in Ohio. And we all have that same problem. But the way that this legislation is drafted have a big say on the issues that we're talking about. How do we make it so that it empowers the street? How does preach get the opportunity not to have 10 but 100 kids when we're working on 10 projects at one time? And that really needs to be the goal of whatever land bank legislation is passed. We're never going to have enough money, the city of Pittsburgh, to do it. But we do have the ability to empower other organizations. And we do have the ability, if we create a land bank program that incorporates the foundations and private donations, to leverage a lot more money. So everything you're bringing up is absolutely correct.
How will this empower the organized residents in the affected area and the non-organized residents in the affected area?
Because the difference between the land bank and the treasurer's sale gives us the ability to be able to choose what the best use of the land is. Not simply who came in with the bid and got it certified by the right person under the right stamp in the right time period, and it just goes, and then they sit on it, and they just wait for something to happen for decades. But somebody who says, that's next door to me, I want a college program, I want to be able to use that as a garden next to my house, or I want to be able to build a townhouse, or I want to be able to invest some part of the decision making in how to do it.
I will get your question answered here. Let me say what.
That's it. I'm done.
Okay, so I want to say one last thing, and then we'll have the question answered. So let me sort of talk about mechanically how we go forward, because all of you know, it's interesting when I come to when I come to meetings like this, and for outsiders. And Rashard talks about, indigenous community leaders. People who come outside our community don't realize how long many of us have been connected. Rashard and my brother were in grade school together. My family. But my point is, we've all been at this a long time. And mechanically, we're all going to stay here working on this no matter what. That's really my point. We've been all working at this a long time, and we're all going to stay involved in this. Now, mechanically, how I think this is going to work is twofold. One is, as we go through the land banking process, there's going to be a conversation with council and with all the community groups asking for their input to participate in what the deal looks like. So that's the actual deal. But at the same time, in my opinion, there needs to be we need to organize ourselves communities-wide. And I'm hoping we have a new entity that we put some money into, which is the East End Development Collaborative, that I believe is the right vehicle to be able to set up committees in each of the neighborhoods that talk about the highest and best land use. I think there needs to be a Homewood group that talks about the highest and best land use. I think there needs to be a Lincoln Limington group. I think there needs to be a Walker group. I think there needs to be a North Point Breeze group that sits together, looks at their community, and makes recommendations of what the highest and best use of land use is, and begins to make community planning in terms of what happens to that land. What never happens, a speculator comes in, You know, in order to get the killing fields torn down, we had to go to Israel. The guy who owned it was in Israel. We had to serve him in Israel. We have people, believe it or not, who own land and who will buy land from all over the world. And so what the land bank does is give us, as the public, some control of the distribution, the acquisition, the distribution, and the nature. And so mechanically, from this day forward, what I hope to happen is that those of you who are concerned will work with him, because him and his group has promised to continue to advocate with me. We've done this before, him and I, so we kind of know how this works. He's agreed to be the conduit for which the community engages me legislatively and gives your input of what this bill will be. PCRG, other council members will all get their point in. We're not in a hurry this, so we'll come up with the best land-taking bill. Then secondly, at the same time, at the parallel process, we need people like Jerome Jackson and Rashad and Rockwell to begin to talk about creating this homework big plan. That's already doing that. You just need people, you need other people on the table. So we began in homework to talk about the best and highest shoes. At the same time, Brother Shaw, we're talking to ACAC and those partners about workforce development stuff. And then I will put on the table a third piece, which is not yet on the table, but I promise you I'm going to put on the table, which is the bill that would hire indigenous community groups to maintain the properties that are in the land. Because I believe that it should be our kids who are working to take care of the land in our community. If that makes any sense. And I think that also gives us a jump start to doing some workforce development stuff, because we have. And my sense of it, I haven't completely read yet, but my sense of it is it would be probably 3 or 4 locations. You know, it'd be one in the east, one in the north, one in the south, and one in the west, to be fair. So that you have, so it wouldn't just be Homewood, it'd be Homewood, the hill, the north side, so there'd be 4 groups. And in my sense of things, I'm hoping the Homewood group would form a partnership with 2 or 3 of the people who know how to do this work. They'd form a partnership, bid on it. And, we would give them a chunk of money that they would, cut grass, remove snow in some target areas. And that we would do this. So, that's the other piece. So, mechanically, I think I've laid out how I'm moving forward. Because at the end of the day, and I'm real good with this. I've gotten to the point in my life, I'm in my 30th year at Nazarene. I've been homeless since 1967. I'm content. I'm already content with my future. My future is to pastor my church and be buried at Homewood Cemetery. I'm good with that. I already own the lot. I'm good with that. You know what I mean? I'm really good with that. But for a while, but before I go, before I go, and those who would have put me there, I would like to make some difference in the community I represent. And so, to the extent I can, these are the conversations for what I believe, and I believe this very sincerely. I've been talking about, as Rockwell and Rashad will tell you, I came into this thing talking about resources. So at the end of the day, you judge me not by what I say, judge me by how kind of resources I bring to this community. What kind of dollars I bring home. Because that's what this community needs, dollars. And the reporter can tell you, when they interview me privately, what do I talk about? I talk about bringing resources. At the end of the day, it ain't personal. You don't have to like me. You don't have to like Brother Bashar. I don't like me. My wife don't like me most of the time. I don't like me sometimes, But at the end of the day, it ain't about me or who's elected representative. It's about the community. And we need a process where we control our determination, and we every year are getting dollars from government and from private foundations and whatever who has money, so that we can be participants in rebuilding our own communities. And I think that's the goal. So I'm going to stop talking.